Hey guys, and welcome to another Factorio Reddit Weekly. This is number 7, I believe. And again, we are here looking at the top posts from the last week. This one looks pretty cool. I've kind of browsed through some of these, and there's definitely some interesting stuff here. So let's just hop right into it. PSA, Factorio is getting a 0% discount for Steam Summer Sale. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. The devs have, already discussed that there will not be sales, there will never be sales. And pretty much this person's just saying if you're on the fence about buying the game, consider playing the free demo. So if you didn't know, guys, there is a free demo. If you don't have Factorio and you're interested in it, read some of the reviews or talk to, someone who's already played it or who does play it currently. And pretty much that's it on that one. But yeah, I think I still, I totally support the fact they don't do sales. I don't think they need to do sales. And I personally think it's a pretty decent idea. So suggestion, Omnidirectional Conveyor Sorter / Threeways Splitter. So this is pretty interesting. So pretty much, oh, that's super cool. You can change them out. So you can have it go straight or take a left turn like that. Oh, dude, that's so cool. Yeah, something like that for Factorio would be super cool. I mean, what that's doing, you can kind of just accomplish with one splitter and then just turning the output belt the other way. But it only allows you to do 2 directions, right? Because there's only 2 outputs. So the difference obviously is this one, it can go straight, can go left or right. With a splitter, you can't do that because if you go left and right, you obviously can't go straight. And if you go straight in one other direction, you can't go the last direction. But so something like this, I think, would be pretty cool for sure. This one, oh man, I even left a comment on this one. It's kind of fun to work without train signals or 400 belts worth of ore over a single rail line. This is literally my worst nightmare ever. Can you guys imagine me trying to make it through this place? This makes me very uncomfortable to watch. It's super mesmerizing, though. This is, insanely cool. Oh my gosh, this is so awesome. Yeah, so they're not even using train signals here, obviously, as you can tell. All these, when you first look at it, it's a miracle they don't hit each other, but this is so well planned and designed that they just don't. And I mean, they're right on each other's butts here, but it's just perfectly speed and timed. They're not actually connecting because you can't have a train automatically connect without a mod. It's just so well put together. This is super awesome. Really mesmerizing to watch. Let's look at. You're insane. How bored do you have to be to make something like this? Why do people build 8-lane rail setups for beginner mega scale? Show you some fatal problem with high density rails. So this is the creator of it. Oh, here's my comment. So the creator of this has challenged me to make it across this alive. Both of us trying to do it. See which one of us can make it the farthest or make it the most amount of times without dying, which I think should be pretty fun. The full technology tree is a satisfying sight. This is nuts. This shows you how many techs there actually are in the game. It's a lot. This is a lot of tech. I mean, granted, quite a few of these are just higher levels of the same thing, but even so, this is a really cool kind of infograph here. What's interesting is that it's not that big. I mean, I get that's the opposite of what I said. I mean, I think it's a decent amount. I mean, it's still quite a few techs, at least to me, but I mean, I don't really play a lot of other games with big tech trees, so I guess in comparison, it's maybe not that big. Yeah, so they're saying that it's like about the same size of trees in Civ games, but Factorio has a much larger sense of progression. I think it's mostly that Factorio techs are more game-changing in the sense that many of them give you totally different things to do, new items to build, fluid processing, or unlock major new systems in the game, logibots, etc. significantly increase your personal power. Civ doesn't have that as much unless you get a significant military tech. So, I mean, yeah, that's like the thing, right? It's like, why I said there were a lot is because each one you get does impact you pretty significantly. You know, there's a couple here that don't really do much, but like for the most part, each of these techs is pretty impactful and like unlocks a big progression step for you. So the fact that there's so many of those, I think is, I mean, just looking at it in this way, at least to me, seems pretty impressive. Advertisements are getting too real. When you press R on a belt by accident, what to expect at an addiction rehab center. Oh, this is hilarious. I love it. Now for something completely different. Kanto. Oh, this is really cool. I looked at this already. This thing is super neat. It's just like a little like nature thing. I don't know if Kanto, is that like a reference to something? I don't know, but almost like a maze of some sort here. This is really neat. This is super cool. And like the rocks here and stuff. Oh man, this is, I really like this. Let me see if the comments tell us what this is all about. Today in Full Run, after a while, I came up with the idea of recreating... Okay, it's from Pokemon, apparently. I'm not sure how far I'll end up going, but I hope to recreate most or all of the original Fire Red Leaf Green map. Wow, okay, that's pretty cool. I'm sure most of you guys know what that is. I'm not in touch with Pokemon, however you say it, stuff. I like never even got into it at all. Let's see. The power of models beacon. Okay, so this is, I mention this in my videos a lot and on my streams, and I never really give a visual representation, but this person does. And I think this is just really impactful for people who may not realize it, like how strong beacons and modules actually are. The power of modules beacons, the 3 huge blocks on the left, unbeaconed, have exactly the same output as the 2 small blocks on the right, beaconed. So these 3 have the same exact output as this and this. And that right there shows you, like, that's ridiculous. Like, I mean, even these 2 put together isn't even like, it's maybe a little more than like half of one of these. Because I've had, like, not a lot, but I have had people ask, like, why would you bother doing modules beacons when you could just build more assemblers? Well, it's like, one, because that's more entities. Like, beacons take pretty much no game performance at all unless they're like unpowered or partially powered. I should say probably partially powered, but also it's because, like, look at this size difference. I mean, this is ridiculous. Like, this is a huge difference. And there's some interesting discussion here. So this person is just asking about the build. Somewhere in here. Okay, here we go. So this is an interesting thing. This is another, like, you may not know. Yes, but the left probably consumes half the power of the right as well. Still impressive. Are you planning on upgrading the left into the right in the future? But this part about the power. I've always read that beacon assemblers actually use less power than unbeaconed ones for the same output. And someone else confirms, and I can also confirm, and I think, like, Zuri tested this and stuff, and we'd agree, that if you use productivity modules, as you can see, but only because of the productivity module and speed modules combined, right? However, beacons have a massive power drain regardless of them actually running any assembler, so the power would need to be switched off, saving power if power was the goal. Same power. So yeah, I mean, it will take a higher, like, constant amount because the beacons are going to obviously take, you know, the static amount of power regardless of if the machines are on. But if they're both working, due to the combination of speed and productivity modules, overall, it's actually going to take, like, the same amount of power for the same output. And I'm sorry if you hear that. There's like a fighter jet just flew over. When is saving power ever the goal? Well, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, usually it's not that important. So perfect wiring. Oh, Brome from Will's Discord would like this. That's some really clean wiring. I wonder how long it took to get that right. Trying to do this, but never can. He lied to us. Oh man, they screwed up. Nuclear reactors would be 20 times more neat if it had a cooler sound, perhaps something between a fan and a Geiger counter. That would be really cool. I mean, yeah, the nuclear reactors, like, do they even have a sound? I've never even noticed. I want it to sound like I'm simultaneously being cooked alive and getting the exhaust of a jet engine in my face. Yes. 20 times. Show your work. Oh god, I love some of these comments. Cooler sound plus nuclear reactors by 20 equals nuclear reactors. Seems pretty straightforward. Yeah, a mod. I'm sure someone could do this with a mod for sure. Yeah, I mean, that would actually be quite easy to do with a mod, I'd imagine, if someone provided a decent sound. Space efficient rail crossing. Here's one of these again. I'm personally not a fan of these type of posts. I mean, they're a little entertaining, but they get old real quick. Oh god, they've merged. Wow. Literally unplayable. Yeah, dude, this annoys the heck out of me. Alright, this person is not the only one. This absolutely drives me crazy. When the tree stumps are like sprouting up, like when you chop them down, they're still like overlapping over your track and like over your concrete and stuff. They say disappear after a while. The long grass stuff stays forever. You can barely even see the tracks. That is true. The long grass. Although I think sometimes that's kind of cool to have your tracks just going through like, you know, big long patches of grass. Yeah, I guess these do fade away after a while, but I wonder if there'd be a way to make it just so that like the track is like above the stump, like graphically above the stumps, so like it doesn't, you know, like it takes priority, right? So if you have stumps and you place a track, the track just goes over the stumps and it just like makes them disappear, or even just when something goes over them, they just disappear. I mean, and trains. I mean, yeah, that's really frustrating. All right. Even 8-year-olds love Factorio. Oh, this is so great. I love this. This 8-year-old kid. Oh, this thing's so cool, dude. I want one of these. That's awesome. Playing Factorio. I love it. Friday Facts, of course. What would it actually take to get Factorio featured on the Steam sale? This post is kind of meh. Pretty much someone just saying that, like, wondering like what it would take to get Factorio featured on the Steam sale, even though it's not on sale with a 0% discount, which I think is a little bit ridiculous because maybe they're just joking, but I mean, Steam would never do that. So, the best biter defense. F off. Nice. Mildly infuriating Factorio edition. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. I'm not going to read through all these, although I think I know what this kind of is, and some of these could be interesting. Posts on the same topic. Okay, well, what's this? I figured the link you posted was worthy of a separate thread. I've tried and probably failed to keep the below list somewhat organized. What gets you mildly infuriated? Finding leftovers are your first ever mines right in the middle of your base, hiding in plain sight. When in desperate need to find iron ore patches, come across a large lake with iron ore scattered all around. Yeah, that is really annoying. When in desperate need to find iron ore patches, instead find the largest stone patch you've ever witnessed. This happens to me, except with copper, usually. Have unused oil well in your primary oil field hidden behind a tree. Definitely had that happen. Odd number of yellow transport belts, underground belts, pipes, honestly anything that's made in batches of 2. After very precisely producing exactly 75 blue science packs for advanced oil processing, that one science pack that's stuck in a splitter. Well, now that's always turning on and off because you just barely don't produce enough science. While making a large bridge across the sea, being short by one piece or a few pieces of landfill. Definitely had that happen a lot. A steel furnace for train that's still running on coal when everything else uses rocket fuel. This is like the only one that wouldn't run me over, I'm pretty sure. Let's see, I'm just kind of scanning through this. This is me. This is totally me. There's always just like one section of my base that never is covered by radar. I just like never get around to it or misplace the radars. Going full on bot base, that one chest in a Pulse hospital doesn't have Roboport coverage. Attempting to run through a forest, potentially being chased by angry biters, only to run into a huge, continuous cliff. Always carry a stack of cliff explosives. Yep. It lacks fact that always happens right as you're crossing the train tracks and see a train coming your way. I swear it lagged. Yeah, guys, come on. Like, I keep telling you this. No one believes me. This is why I die. The moment when your last pickaxe runs out. These are pretty interesting to read through. Found one you say to add here. Finding 6 pump jacks that I apparently connected to each other but never connected the rest of the oil pad since I developed it 50 hours ago. This has happened multiple times to me, and it is so infuriating. Where I'll like hook stuff up, hook an oil thing up, and then think I did the whole thing, and come back like hours later wondering why my oil output's low, and then realize that I actually didn't connect half of them to the other half, and they're just sitting there doing nothing. This game consumes a devilish amount of time. What? 666 hours. Nice. Alt mode should be enabled by default. Yeah, I don't know why it's not. I imagine a lot of players not knowing about it. It's almost required when dealing with fluid setups, and it generally makes things much easier to simply use way more than no alt mode. Yeah, so alt mode, if you like, when you hit the alt key by default, this is, I think it's actually called like advanced info or something. That's like what shows like the little like yellow arrows with directions that your like pipe inputs are going and your inserters are going and stuff. I don't know why that's off by default. It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, maybe the devs think it would be like too cluttered or something, but I've seen so many posts and questions on my videos and stuff about like, how do you get, you know, that info to show up? Like, is it a mod or something? And it's because it's off by default, and these new players have no idea how to mess with it, right? And I mean, of course, there's a key bindings menu, but it's pretty extensive and overwhelming for a new player. I really don't understand why they don't just make it default. Enabling disabling it should have a different shortcut and probably some discoverable UI. Now it's usually discovered when trying to alt-tab between Factorio and something else. They should just add a tutorial section about it. I mean, yeah, of course you should be able to turn it off, but I think it should be on by default, for sure. Like, it would just, I think it would help new players a ton. I mean, I don't know. That's just me, personally. What are some counterintuitive Factorio effects? This is really interesting. I posted in here. This one is actually quite interesting. Steel furnaces are more fuel efficient than electric furnaces if electricity comes from steam generators, which you may not initially think of. As your factory grows, the square cube law actually helps you since less proportion of available resources are needed to maintain defenses. Interesting. Changing frequency and size of resource patches may give you the opposite result of what you expect due to how Perlin noise works. Proper combination of speed and productivity modules will reduce the energy spent per item made. 1,000 flying robots, solar panels, accumulators slow down the game less than static belts and a few nuclear reactors. Yeah, I mean, optimize pipe and fluid mechanics, please, and belts even more. Adding a few copper wires to some wood doubles its fuel value. And what they mean by this is this would give you wooden power poles, and you get 2 per craft, so that's why it would increase its fuel value. There are some interesting ones in the comment. Oil is the only renewable resource, and water, which is like literally the entire opposite of real life. Oil is more renewable than trees. Yep. 1 minute in-game is several hours in the real world. When viewing power usage, it's better when performance bar is low rather than high. The research needed... So they need to change this. This is so counterintuitive. Like, I still don't understand why it's this way. It's really confusing, especially to new players. Like, even to more, I still get confused by it. When I look at my power, I can instantly know, but like when I try to explain it, it's super confusing because it's just really unintuitive, I think. Research needed to complete the game is not the latest research. Portable roboports go inside the armor, but the robots do not. Burn inserters fuel themselves if they're picking up coal, so upgrading them to electric inserters is less effective in some cases, like when you're powering your power setup. It's funnest game I've ever played yet. It's impossible to talk friends into trying it. I had this problem too. Like, I had some internet friends who are looking for new games to play, and like, I tell them about Factorio and they're just not interested. But then, like, if they actually tried it, they would probably get absolutely addicted. And yeah, this person, they need to change the power bars. The current ones are confusing and unintuitive. Yeah, pretty much. So this just talks about the power pole thing that I did above with the fuel value. The engineer capable of creating a pocket train or rocket silo can't seem to figure out how to make a locomotive travel in reverse unless he's inside it. Yep. Let's see. Speed beacons more than overcome the speed penalties of the modules, but even so, the savings is relative to unbeacon productivity use. So here's mine. One portable solar panel takes 5 solar panels, and yet it only provides 1/4 the power of a single solar panel, which I think is kind of silly. The more time you put in, the more it requires. This is so true. Engineer can survive just fine even in the biggest cloud of pollution created by man. The weather is exactly the same every single day, and the days are the exact same length. A portable solar panel requires... Yeah, this is what I said. Requires 5 solar panels, 300 kilowatts. A craft only produces 10 kilowatts. Transporting barrels on belts moves more liquid than over pipes, which is pretty silly. Pipe throughput issues again. So 16.51 has been marked as stable, in case you guys didn't know. This is Beltzilla, the base that launched my first rocket. It's not the best base, but it's mine. This is pretty interesting, actually. I've actually really never seen. So this person's obviously new, so this is not a like critical thing at all. It's just an example. Like in my videos, when I say to underground the bus, this is what I mean not to do. Or yeah, let's not zoom in like that. And see how, and maybe this is just what they prefer aesthetically, and that's totally fine. Like, but you see how they're undergrounding all the belts that go across. This is like 10 times more underground belts than it would take to just underground the main bus lines and then just run the cross lines like without undergrounds, if that makes sense. Again, this is like their base. Like, I mean, they're newer, maybe they prefer it this way. If you prefer it this way, totally go for it. But this is just like visually an example of what I try to explain. A somewhat new newbie's comprehensive analysis of the new player experience and how he thinks it can be improved. I'm not probably going to read this whole thing. Definitely not. But if you're interested, check that out. Suggestion: in real life, clock is part of UI. That would actually be really interesting if it would if it could somehow like use an API or something and tie in to your PC clock, like your clock down here, Windows clock or whatever. Because yeah, it's so easy to lose track of time. That'd be really cool. So I think that's going to be it for this one, guys. Some pretty interesting stuff. No fan art or anything, but I guess it does take kind of time to develop that stuff. Some really interesting in-game stuff though, for sure. So I think that's going to do it. As always, leave your thoughts below. I do hope you enjoyed, and until next time, I look forward to seeing you all, and do take care.